Hello, all, welcome back. Today we are going to learn what are application level middlewares in Express.js. Okay, in the last session, as part of our e-commerce application development, okay, session number 20, we understand what is a middleware and some basics. So today, um, day 21, we are going to learn some interesting things about application level middlewares. Of course, route level middleware handling. Those things we are going to discuss in detail in coming sessions. So let's, without wasting time, let's jump into the topic. Of course, if you didn't practice this the first session, first part, please practice the part one first, and then only come back here. So fine. So thank you. I hope you have done a practice and you are watching this. So here Mm, uh, we understand like if you have any kind of function and you can access a request method and response, and if you are able to invoke the next function which is there in the sequence, so that is called simply a middleware. Okay, we can call the middleware like a app.use, and you can mention the function name so that it will execute. So that's what we understand. So I will just revise once few things quickly, and then we can jump into application. Of course, app.use is itself application middleware. So I'm just creating a simple function, the um, log details, something, log URL details or something, log details, and that middleware should have the object like request and response and the next. What is the importance of next? We already understood, because it is going to invoke the next middleware function. It will hold the next middleware function. If you invoke it, it will execute that. So here I'm just putting simply console.log, and here what I'm trying to request dot original URL, and I will invoke the next middleware function. So in the same way, I'm going to create another simple function, log method. Okay, what is the HTTP method we are using? Just for learning purpose, so just go with the request and response and next. Here simply I'm just logging console.log, console.log, you can say request dot method. Okay, and again I'm going to invoke the next middleware function. Of course, here we are going to build a route for that. App dot, we are using a get method and forward slash users. Okay, and this is the middleware function. Okay, that is like a route handler. So here request and response, I'm not using a next method here, next argument, because we are going to end the request response cycle here itself. So that response dot send simply, and I'm saying like simply users information. I'm just sending a simple text. So these two are again a middleware. So if you want to use it, in the last session we have done like app.use, and if you mention those details, log details, and the sequence log method, so it is going to execute for each and every request which is going to received by the server. It is going to execute this middleware function, and then it will execute this one, and then it will execute this middleware function. That's what we have learned already. Let's run the application. I'm just using node-mon index. So application is up and running, and localhost 3000. Let me check whether at least we are getting response or not. Yeah, oh, it's not working. So cannot get forward slash log. That means something went wrong. So that's users, right? So the route is users, so that just give users. Okay, users info. It's perfect. So here just let's see, we I just did some console.logs, right? So if you see First we tried just a forward slash, that is the original URL, and that is the HTTP method. And after that we tried forward slash user, so it is just log those details. This is very important. Okay, so of course you understand how to use the middlewares and all these things. So now we can do these things in a different way. So if you see, we have these two middleware functions, right? So we have used app.use method. This is a global um, method where we can call these middlewares. But instead of that, just I just commented that. And even here, this app.get also accepts multiple what middleware functions. So if you see, I'm just passing. First, I will pass only one log details. Okay, this is one middleware function. Again, this is also another middleware function. So carefully, this is another middleware function. So after that, if you pass another one, okay, like that you can test it. So, but once you complete the response cycle, there is no meaning to invoke another middleware function. So I'm just logging just the log details. Okay? Let's see first of all whether it is working or not. So our application is up and running. So now we should get only it should invoke only log details and this our route handler. Mhm. So again, I'm just hitting the server. Boom, we got the response. And if you see, we got the only one log, that is original URL forward slash users. So in the same way, you can pass another one, the log method. So in this case, you will get both the logs. So again, our application is up and running. And let me hit the server one more time. So again, this uses information. And if you see right now, it is got logged two things. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Now the pause the video and do practice. Pause the video and do practice these things, because I'm going to explain one more important topic. Suppose whenever we got suppose normally these are the public, right, public routes. We didn't implement any kind of security like authentication authorization. So of course, anyway, we are going to implement JWT authentication and all those things in coming days. But here I will show you one simple important thing which will be useful whenever we entered into that authentication part. So here how we can add one more middleware to check whether the user is valid or not. If the user is valid, then only we should send the response. Then only we should execute this the route handler. So yeah, pause the video and whatever we have discussed so far, practice it. And once you understand, just come back and continue. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you have done a practice and you came back. So now, okay, I'm just removing these three things because you guys understood whatever we have discussed so far. Because I want to create a separate middleware function. So if you see here, I'm going to create a middleware function with name called auth. Okay, function authentication. Again, this is a middleware function, so that request, response, and next, okay, it will have access. So here what I'm doing, okay, whenever we are sending a request to the server, so next I'm going to forward the username. Okay, of course, username, password, many things you can pass it. So right now we can do with the username. Suppose uh, localhost 3000 users, if I do like svgie, so it should read this username from the path parameters, and it will check whether it is matching with the proper user or not. Okay, so if it is valid, then it, it should send the user's information. Otherwise, it should say like authentication error. Okay, let's implement that. So if you want to get the path parameters here, we should mention, right? I hope you remember. Okay, the user name. So you should pass, you should query should be like localhost 3000 forward slash users and forward slash, and if you pass the username, so that will be part of request dot params, right? Fine. So here this middleware can access the request object, right? So And here what I'm doing, I'm just writing if condition. Observe carefully. This is really, really interesting. So request dot params dot username. Okay, this username. So I'm just checking if this request dot params dot username is svgie. If it is matching with svgie, then only I will allow to execute the next callback function, for next middleware function. So auth is the first middleware function. If it is valid, this if condition is valid, then only it should execute this one. So here I'm just adding that the middleware. So now the first whenever we hit this the URL first, it will execute this auth middleware and it will check whether the username is valid or not. If it is true, then only it will execute the next middleware. Otherwise, we are going to complete the request response cycle here itself and we should send error message. So I'm just sending simply uh, unauthorized authorized user. So this is very, very simple example. So let's see, now we can try. So of course we are using a node so that our application is up and running always. So now the Part2 case, okay, first we can go with a different name, users, and you can give your name. Some Vijay. So you see, users.vijay is not there. No, I think something went wrong. Is that perhaps okay? Something went wrong because it should give unauthorized user, right? It should check the. Now tell me what's the mistake? This is the username. Of course, I is the route properly. Users, then username. Can anyone suggest me what's my mistake? It's really something went wrong. So let's see. If I give svgie, still it will says I did a small mistake somewhere. Forward slash. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So if you don't do practice regularly, we will forget small things. So if you see, we got users information, and now if you pass the invalid user, suppose Vijay, unauthorized user. Okay, got it. So if you see, it will reach this one, and before hitting executing this route, before executing this route handler, first it will execute this middleware and it will check whether the user is valid or not, so that you can add a username and password like that. So if you want, just add it, okay, username, but we should not pass the password in the path parameters for understanding purpose. It's okay, but actually we should pass it in the body and we should encrypt it. Actually, those techniques we are going to learn. So and here I'm just adding another condition like and this dot params dot the password. I'm just putting like 1 2 3 4 5 because anyway it will you will get the data in the form of string, so that I'm just comparing with the string itself. If user ID SVGA and the password is 1 2 3 4 5, then only it should work. Otherwise, it should throw an authorized user. So a user Vijay and the password 1 2 3 4 5. So it is unauthorized. So and if I make it SVGIE and forward slash 1 2 3 4 5, it is a valid user. So it is just showing the perfect information. So I hope you guys understood some application level middlewares. And here some other advanced things are there, but right now this is enough. So whenever it is required, definitely I will cover those things as well. So route level middlewares are It's very similar to this application level middleware, but only thing is here, normally, for doing an MVC approach kind of thing, we will move all the routes to separate the file, right? So they will import express.js and we will use the router and the router.use. So there, it is also works in a similar fashion. So just go through this documentation, official documentation, and do some kind of practice so that you will understand. If you get any confusion, definitely just reach out to me. I will help. And in the next video, next session, what we are going to learn, some interesting stuff, that is, so error handling, maybe next video. So next video we are going to understand built-in middlewares. Okay, express static, of course we have already used express.json and express.url encoded, we need to understand. So I will cover these three things in next video. So what you need to do, just give a like, and if you are new to our channel, just subscribe it so that you will get more information. Thank you and see you in the next session. Bye bye.